What is up, everyone? Prometheus here. So today I just watched Demon Slayer Infinity Castle. I work at the movie theater that it was showing at, so I was able to get free tickets. Anyways, so I went into this movie with moderate expectations. I heard a lot of really good stuff about it, and I enjoy the Demon Slayer series, even if I'm not a die-hard fan like other people. Like, I like the series. I think it's pretty good. The actual anime is pretty good. But the movie, I don't know. I didn't know what to feel about it going into it. Like, it was over 2.5 hours long, and I was a bit skeptical about it being weirdly paced. Felt like everything was crammed in, but I did think the decision to take the last arc of the Demon Slayer story and make it into a movie trilogy was a pretty good one. Like, it honestly kind of works. I know the entire story, and I'll tell you what I think of how they adapted it, but I think the story of Demon Slayer is pretty solid. Like, I don't think the story is anything amazing per se. The overarching story isn't anything special, though I do like it when the story of Demon Slayer focuses more on personal stories, whereas the overarching story is nothing amazing. It's good, it's solid, but nothing amazing. The story does have amazing moments, but I feel like those small, more personal moments, little flashbacks, are what make it special. And man, did we get a lot of those in this movie. Now, I'm going to give you a little disclaimer when I say that I don't hate anime. I'm not a huge, I'm not against anime. I don't think being a diehard fan of it is weird. Like, if you take it into weird directions, like being a part of a shipping community or wanting to screw a little girl from an anime, that's where I draw the line. But I'm not against the idea of being a diehard fan of an anime, but I'm not a diehard fan of anime. Don't get me wrong, I am a diehard fan of certain animes. Like, Hayao Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli as a whole. My favorite anime, all of, Hayao Miyazaki's filmography, everything made by Studio Ghibli, those are my favorite animes of all time. Because it's a lot more artistic. It doesn't follow certain tropes followed by other anime series and shonen. I love Studio Ghibli. I can gladly call myself a die-hard fan of their works and Hayao Miyazaki's works. He's like my second favorite director of all time, right behind Denis Villeneuve. But anyways, I enjoy the Demon Slayer series. It's good. I like the characters. They're charming. The overarching story I don't think is anything amazing. It has its standout moments. Mugen Train was really good. But going into this, I was a bit afraid because this is going to be of a hot take, but I didn't like Hashira training arc. Like, it felt a lot like the final episode was good. That I will say that. But it felt kind of like more filler. It's easily the weakest season, easily the weakest arc of Demon Slayer out of all of them for sure. Because we've gotten a lot of good parts, like the Entertainment District, flashy animation, great moments, Mugen Train, obviously. Like, there's a lot of really good stuff in this series. It's pretty good, great even. But Hashira training arc kind of dropped the ball for me. I was a bit afraid. So when I went to watch this movie, I had my skepticisms and my hopes, and I came out with mixed feelings. So, uh, first off, I have my problems with this movie. One, I felt like though almost all of the flashbacks that they show in the movie, they are necessary. They are a part of the story, and I do think they should be kept in. But I feel like some of them it could get a bit excessive at times, and certain ones kind of felt shoehorned, lodged into certain scenes. Felt like it kind of showed up in the middle of a battle, and it kind of threw off the entire rhythm and flow of that scene. And I feel like they could have edited or placed these flashbacks in different points to make it flow a bit better. And I do think the movie overall, though mostly decently paced, certain parts of it did feel a bit weirdly paced for me. Um, so yeah, this movie isn't perfect. I'm not I'm not gonna be a huge. I'm not gonna glaze this movie to death, and I will admit parts of it didn't work for me. With that being said, the rest of the movie is freaking incredible. Yeah, you heard me saying mixed thoughts and thought, oh no, this guy's not gonna like this movie. Nope, I really like this one. This is easily the best piece of Demon Slayer media we have gotten out of the series thus far, excluding the manga. The story here, I feel, is at its best because we don't really focus too much on the overarching story. We focus more on the personal stories of these characters. Certain ones, mainly in one that we will get to, and I like that. I like that the personal stories are the forefront of this movie, and the overarching one is kind of in the background. I like that this movie doesn't try to scatter its attention to every individual character. Like, there's a lot of characters, but they only focus on like three groups. That being Zenitsu versus the his brother, or I forgot his name already. The Doma, and then Tanjiro, Giyu versus Akaza. Those three groups, and I like that. I like that it doesn't try to scatter its attention to all these characters. Some of them get little moments, but I also like how serious this movie can be. Like, yeah, certain parts, there's certain small comedic parts of levity where the characters are a lot more cartoony and cute looking, but most of that eventually gets drowned out by just how serious this story gets, how bleak it can get, and I like that. So, yeah, this is really good. The most obviously good thing about this movie is the animation. This is the best looking animation out of the entire series, and probably some of the best animation I've seen in a while. You know, it's right up there with stuff like Spider Verse and Arcane and Cyberpunk Edge Runners. It's incredible. Has some of the best action. It's amazing. Again, I did say some of the action could get thrown off a bit by certain flashbacks, but then again, those flashbacks I do feel are necessary. They could have been added in a bit better, edited in a bit better. Anyways, let's talk about the best part of this movie, Akaza's flashback. It takes up a large part of the final act of the movie, but I don't even care because it's honestly the best part of the movie. And if I'm being honest, it's the best part of the entire franchise. This flashback, honestly, it's a 10 out of 10. It's strong. Obviously, we get to see his backstory. We think of him as a monster, and then we just see what shaped him, and it's just freaking devastating. And like, I can't, I didn't cry, but I could hear people around me crying. Like, I felt that. It's amazing, and his eventual decision in the end really hit me there. Like, I didn't cry. Only one movie has ever made me cry, and I don't cry to animated movies. Obviously, um, I was hardened by Schindler's List as a child, and now no movie has ever made me cry since. But I can still feel emotion and sympathy towards the characters, and uh, Akaza was a character that we wanted to see get his comeuppance in the end because after he killed Rengoku in Mugen Train, and that was the most emotional part of the series thus far. We wanted to see him dead. We wanted them to avenge Rengoku's death and kill Akaza. But then we see his flashback and we see what eventually drove him to become the monster that he was. And then you wanted him to rest easy and you felt more sympathy towards him. Like, I like that. I like his eventual arc. Like, he goes through an entire arc, entire character redemption. He goes through a redemption arc within the last 45 minutes of the movie. You think that'd be really rushed, but no, it works. That's the best part of the movie. So, like, at first I thought this was going I was going to rate this movie like an 8 out of 10. It was great. Like, I really liked it. I thought the animation was great and it was good, but I felt like certain parts of it were weirdly paced. The flashbacks could have been edited in a bit better. So I thought it was great. At first, I was going to give it an 8. But this flashback, honestly, I don't even care if this movie has problems. Like, after seeing Akaza's flashbacks, I don't even care. This movie isn't perfect, but I can forgive its problems because the rest of it is so incredible. Like, holy crap. So, that flashback scene projected this movie's score from a 9 out of 10, from an 8 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10. Hell, maybe even a 9.5 out of 10. Who knows? Like, this is an incredible movie. Like, again, it has problems. No anime is perfect. A movie this long, especially an animated one, is going to have its problems with pacing. It's mostly just pacing problems I have with the flashbacks and parts of it being really paced. But if I'm being honest, I don't even care. Like, it's amazing. I'm not a huge anime fan. Like, I am a big fan of certain anime, like Full Metal Alchemist is my favorite anime of all time, and Monster is the best anime I've ever seen. I really like those. I also really like Gurren Lagann. But the thing about those anime is that even though the animation is fantastic, it's the story that I like. Like, I like when animes can have a amazing animation, obviously, but also have a story that comes close to or even matches or surpasses the quality of the animation. That's what I like, like Full Metal Alchemist. My favorite part of that anime is the story, even though the animation is beautiful. Monster, that doesn't have any action, it has great animation, but the story is my favorite part. Gurren Lagann has some of the best animation I've ever seen in a mecha anime, and even though the animation is probably the best part of that anime and the action, the story is still really strong. I like when the animes can have a strong story. Demon Slayer, well, it has amazing animation. That's kind of what carries it, because the story itself isn't anything amazing. It's good, it's solid, but it's nothing amazing. Infinity Castle, on the other hand, not only manages to have amazing animation, but also be able to focus on a strong story, a strong emotional core with these characters and their personal backstories. And I like that. Like, I like when we can have little personal connections, I like when we can have more personal, realistic, relatable stories behind these characters. And that's my favorite aspect of this movie. Like, obviously the animation's the best part, but I like the stories. It's a really good movie. I can easily say it's the best piece of Demon Slayer media we have gotten so far, though part 2 and 3 could be the best animated movies of all time, as far as I'm aware, unless, well, some of the best, because I can rarely see in any world any anime movie topping something like Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, or Tale of the Princess Kaguya, but they could come close. They could be the best anime action movies ever made. We'll see, though. Anyways, you know what? I'm pretty comfortable with giving this movie a 9.5 out of 10, because my problems with the pacing are honestly overshadowed by the really good parts of the story and animation. So yeah, go see Demon Slayer Infinity Castle if you're a fan of the series, or if you're a casual anime enjoyer like me, or if you're not into anime at all but you know the story, check it out. It's good. I'll see you in the next one. I'm doing a review of One Battle After Another next week after I see it, because apparently that's the best movie of the last 10 years. I hope that ages well. See you in the next one.